And ECP Africa has been prevented from acquiring Burger King and Grand Foods meat plant from Grand Parade Investments. The Competition Commission has made an announcement yesterday that found, and I quote, that the merger would lead to a significant reduction in the shareholding of historically disadvantaged persons in the target firm from more than 68% to 0% as a result of the merger. Let's get more on that. I'm joined by the Chairperson of Grand Parade Investments, Hassen, and Deputy Competition Commissioner Hardin. Ratshisusu. Thanks so much for your time on SABC News this afternoon. Mr. Adams, let's start with you. From your point of view, what are the issues with what happened with the Competition Commission here?
Good evening and good evening to you. Good afternoon. Look, we were quite surprised at this. I thought that being an empowerment company for 24 and a half years, this would not be an issue with us because we've invested millions of rands or hundreds of millions of rands into the economy through our investments in Burger King and other businesses, and increasing our spend to create huge economic multipliers to our communities. And we can boast of many things. GPI is a triple B company, or was registered as a triple B company before the word triple B was even known. In 1997. So we've gone through the whole process of being a B company, and we continue to do so in terms of the way forward. And we continue to challenge new frontiers for opportunities. And we've been in the gaming industry, in the manufacturing industry, in the food industry. And our track record will show that we have created thousands of jobs for people. And as I said, added an enormous amount of money to the economy. And not only provide employment, but provide employability, where we insist that whoever works for us must grow. So they go through training programs.
Mr. Adams, if I can interrupt you there and just bring in the Deputy Commissioner. My apologies for interrupting. I just want to make sure that the conversation is evenly weighted. So I'm just going to bring in the Deputy Commissioner now and ask you, Deputy Commissioner, the Commission found that proposed transaction is unlikely to result in a substantial prevention or lessening of competition in any relevant markets. So why then prevent it?
Good afternoon to you and your viewers. What's important, I think, is to understand the schema of the Competition Act, especially as it relates to merger control. What we do is we look at the effect of transaction on competition or any other pro-competitive gains, as well as public interest. So in this particular case, where the overriding where the public interest contents. And those contents arose because the acquiring firm, so this issue is about the acquiring firm, ECP Africa Fund. It's not a transformed company. It doesn't comply with our local B laws. So we have given them an opportunity, and we did throughout the course of the investigation, to say, now that you are acquiring a stake from this very transformed firm, which Mr. Adams has just said now, how do you mitigate the contents, particularly as they relate to the spread of ownership by HDIs? The response we got from ECP Africa was that it is not prepared to do anything about transformation. We provided opportunities to say, can you consider, introducing some shareholders? Can you consider an employee share ownership scheme? Can you consider possibly bringing in, black-owned firms in the supply chain, which is what the firm you are buying these assets from has been doing. And the response has not been positive. Okay. We received a very last-minute response when we've already taken a decision. But throughout the course of the investigation, there has not been cooperation. So this is the reason why we blocked the transaction. So there is a recourse in terms of the Competition Act. approach the competition tribunal. But I can assure you, if they approach the tribunal with the same attitude, we are going to reach the same conclusion.
All right.
So that's how we came to this decision.
Mr. Adams, let me just bring you in. You're hearing what the Competition Commission is saying. Just your response.
Yeah, look, firstly, sir, I would like to apologize profusely for what you in actual fact detail as a total non-response from ECP. I was not aware of it, and I'm not sure whether that's the case at the moment, because I would think that, being a BE company where we paid for our equity from our shareholders, 20,000 of them at the beginning, and created what we have today, that it's important to continue with that legacy of supporting black empowerment and black growth. So I commend the Competitions Commission for allowing such activities to take place, and in actual fact, to a point where you are holding the key to unlocking black empowerment in future for new investments in South Africa. The only point I want to make is that you saw this morning in the newspapers on TV, our employment rate is now unemployment rate is sitting at 36%. And we did this deal on the basis that GPI hasn't got the capital to do an aggressive rollout. Aggressive rollout means that we comply at the moment with DK International in terms of our rollout, which is only 5 stores a year. And that's not going to give you the growth in employment as we would like to see. So we made a decision to sell this business in the interest of the South African people and in the interest of growth and the interest of creating more jobs. And that was the main purpose. But we never actually thought that there would have to be a black empowerment ownership content or employee content. We have all sorts of employee schemes in GPI which works for our employees. But the point I want to make here is that you said that ECP hasn't responded favorably. I really want to apologize to that. I'm quite happy to engage them. And I want to commend you on bringing this to the fore, because it should happen with all firms coming into South Africa. I really do think so. It's a case of how do you do it? To find BE companies now to bring equity on board at this period of COVID, where business in the restaurant businesses are absolutely atrocious. I mean, you can speak to any restaurant operator. It's difficult. And for us, it was difficult also. I mean, we're a BE company and we were severely punished by COVID. And to the extent that, we had to beg to open our drive-thrus during the period of COVID. And I must say the government came to the party big time. I explained to them that our drive-thrus are better than some of your points where you do your COVID tests, because nobody touches anything. And I mean, the way we have conducted ourselves in business is magnificent. I mean, we've won many awards.
All right, Mr. Adams, my apologies for keeping on interrupting you. We don't have lots of time in the interview. I just want to bring in the Deputy Competition Commissioner again and speak about the quite loud criticism of the decision that the Competition Commission has taken, saying that you are overreaching in the deal. I'm sure you've seen some of the tweets even directed at you saying this wasn't your place, this wasn't your decision to make because of the ownership of Grand Investments. Just your response to that very briefly as we wrap up this interview.
What we have now in South Africa, this is the law. The Competition Act has been amended. It was amended in 2019 to deal specifically with this issue of transformation. This has been stated, as an objective of the law. And many cases even before this, you'll recall AB InBev acquired SAB, a flagship company in South Africa. It had a Zenzele scheme, an empowerment scheme. We put it to AB InBev that you cannot acquire this company and not address these empowerment issues. They've now launched Zenzele Kabili. That's what we want to see. You had Pepsi acquiring Pioneer, a flagship company, again in South Africa, listed on the JSE, a company that was going to be delisted. Pepsi came on board put, over R1 billion to support employees for empowerment. The issue here is not even about Grand Parade investments, and I think I'm hearing, a lot of commentary that we are anti BEE companies realizing their investments. This is not the case, and I'm happy that, and I'm glad to hear Mr. Adams acknowledging this, that and all the positive things that Grand Parade has been doing for us as the competition regulators, they have to, continue somehow. And when you engage an acquirer, in this case, ECP Africa, they are a private equity firm. They tell us they are not interested in any of the things that we're talking about. Unfortunately, this affects GPI in this instance, wanting to sell. But I can assure you that this is not about us frustrating a BEE transaction, frustrating BEE firms from realizing their investments. So there is no overreach at all. This is the law, and things that we have raised can be mitigated. And as I've said, there's still recourse in terms of the Competition Act. They can approach the Competition Tribunal, and we will still engage with them constructively.
All right. Thank you very much, both, for your time on SABC News this afternoon. My apologies for all the interruptions. We do need to continue with the bulletin. Chairperson